This Uniden CB radio is for those of you that have a 1987 and up Wrangler and are looking for a way to be able to communicate with other Jeeps on the trail or on the road on the cheap. Now, this radio doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles that some of the other radios on the market have, but it is going to get you communicating on the CB band without breaking the bank. As for the installation, I am going to give this a simple 2 out of 3 wrenches. I say simple 2 out of 3 because there isn't a whole lot to it. However, there is still going to be some wiring necessary. Now, as with any CB setup, you are still going to need an antenna, and of course, you're going to need the cable for the CB radio to connect everything up. However, you are going to be able to get away very inexpensively with this setup and still have some communication. Some off-road parks will require you to have a CB radio in order to enter the park. Other times, it's just a really nice feature to have when you're cruising down the trail with your buddies, being able to speak with them very openly and easily. Some parks are in a place where you don't have good cell phone reception, so there are a lot of reasons to want a CB radio in your Jeep. However, as with any electronics, there are those premium top of the line with all the bells and whistles, and then the more basic and simple systems. And this is definitely a more basic, simple system that's definitely going to save you some money over those premium systems while still working really well to be able to get you communicating. As with any CB radio, this has 40 channels, and this does have a port for an external speaker if you choose to hook one up, but it's not going to have any of those other features. It's not going to have an output for a PA. It's not going to have any dual channel monitoring. It's not going to have any sort of additional weather channels on it. So again, very basic, but it gets the job done. As for the installation, I am going to give this a simple 2 out of 3 wrenches. I say simple 2 out of 3 because there isn't a whole lot to it. However, there is still going to be some wiring necessary. So if you're not comfortable with wiring, it will bump up the difficulty level. You may want to take your Jeep to a shop to have this installed. If you are feeling a little bit adventurous, again, this is just a 2-wire hookup, so it is something you could probably figure out in your driveway. Now, the first step is mounting the radio itself, and where you mount that is really up to you depending on what generation Jeep you have. There are some options for a bolt-on bracket. You can always put this in your glove box or in your center console if it's not something you plan on using a lot. People mount them onto their dash, onto the side of the center console. There are some overhead consoles that you can mount these in, a lot of different options. So once you have the radio itself installed, mounted up, the next step is going to be getting power to it. Like I said, this does have a very simple positive and negative 2-wire hookup. However, with a radio, you do want to make sure you're getting very clean power, which means if you can, you want to go directly to the battery for both your positive and your negative. That's going to eliminate as much feedback as possible if you were to hook up to another circuit that's running through additional resistors or switches or anything like that. So get good clean power. It's going to make a difference with the clarity of your transmissions and your receiving on the radio. Then you're going to need to hook this up to your antenna. Now, you'll have your antenna mounted wherever you choose to on the Jeep. You'll run a wire from the radio to the antenna itself. But as with any CB radio, before you use this, you are going to want to tune this. There are shortwave radio tuners that you can purchase fairly inexpensively. You essentially put them in line between your antenna and your radio, do a couple of tests, and dial in the length of your antenna to ensure you're going to get the best use and the safest use out of your radio. This radio is only going to run you $50, and that is not a reflection of the quality, but just of the fact that this doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. This is going to be a very simple radio, but still very well built and definitely going to work and get you communicating. If you want one of those radios that has a lot of other features, monitoring dual channels at the same time, weather channels, PA output, we do have those radios available as well. However, they are going to be more expensive. So if you're looking for an inexpensive CB radio, I definitely recommend looking into this Uniden radio that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.